Yo, what's up, It's your boy Domuto. We're back with another video. Today we're watching Swagkage, ranking every Mangekyo Sharingan from weakest to strongest. Alright, so, I'm a Naruto fan. You can see, hold on, what's poster? You can see that poster right there. Yes, sir. I got figurines. He supposed to have his whatever. It's Rasen Shuriken, but we both. Yeah. Oh, they're all pretty much next to each other. Got you know what I'm saying. We got Sasuke. God damn it! Stay up. God damn. I know I got Itachi, and shit like that. If you want a video on my figurines, let me know. But anyway. Yeah, so we're gonna see what's the weakest to strongest Mangekyo Sharingan is, because I always wondered about that too, since different levels. There's levels to this shit for real. So let's go to it. Let's get to it.
This video is going to be structured. First, I'm only going to be ranking unique Mangekyo jutsu, so no Izanagi, no Susanoo, or anything like that.
Cool.
I also won't be ranking any unique Rinnegan jutsu, so Amino Tejikara and Limbo are off the table. I'm not going to be ranking each Mangekyo user or each pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. All of the eyes are going to be ranked individually. For example, Amaterasu and Tsukuyomi are going to be two different entries on the list. Obviously, I also won't be talking about Mangekyo jutsu that were never shown. I won't make anything up for like Fugaku or Izuna, and I'm not going to put them at the bottom of the list because we don't know what their jutsu are. For the sake of this video, I'll just be ignoring them, and I'll also mostly be sticking to manga canon, so none of the Indra filler stuff is going to count either. Finally, I won't be giving any bonus points to anyone who was revived with Edo Tensei or anyone who had the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. I'll be assuming all of these jutsu can be used.
I think when people talk about people, when they talk about Naruto character, they bring up the reanimation shit. Like, nigga, no. They had fucking infinite fucking chakra. You know what I'm saying? Fighting niggas without infinite chakra, like, you know what I'm saying? And that thing, did they get a boost in power too? So I don't know. It's just
used without restraint when ranking them. And that's everything. That covers all the rules I had in mind, so let's get started.
Let's go. Number 9. Shisui right eye.
Okay, look, I get it. Just hear me out for a second. The reason for this placement, which I know looks insane at a glance, is something that I've actually talked about before. Sorry in advance for repeating myself to those of you who have heard this already. So I'm pretty sure, like almost certain, that Shisui has two different Mangekyo Genjutsu. It's never explicitly stated that this is the case, so I can't prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt or anything. It's like a crackpot MatPat film theory, but there is a lot of evidence for it, like strong evidence. First of all, every pair of Mangekyo Sharingan, aside from Shisui's that the audience is aware of, has two unique jutsu, one tied to each eye. This is true for all of them, except for Mangekyo, whose unique jutsu were never shown. Even in Obito's case, where both jutsu have the same name, they don't do the same thing. I think that Shisui is another example of this, as in he has two different Mangekyo Genjutsu called Kodo Amatsukami. When Danzo uses one of Shisui's eyes to control Mifune, he's able to do so without establishing eye contact, but Mifune snaps out of it as soon as everybody tells him what's going on. It also seems like he needed to maintain it, since the only reason Ao caught him using it is because he was still using it after first casting it. When Itachi had Kodo Amatsukami cast on him by his crow, however, it was a one-time use genjutsu that seemed to require eye contact and didn't care whether he knew what was going on or not. He was fully aware right from the start that he was under the effects of this genjutsu, and even explained as much to Naruto and B. Its effects persisted even after he destroyed the crow that cast it, and displayed that he was aware he was being controlled by it. I think these discrepancies can be explained by the idea that just like everybody else, Shisui has two different Mangekyo powers, and the one tied to the eye that Danzo ended up with just sucks. Like I said earlier, if I'm wrong about this, just ignore this entire section of the video, but if I'm not, this is by far the worst Mangekyo jutsu. A mind control genjutsu sounds really strong on paper, but one that can only be used once every 10 years, that requires the user to actively maintain it, and doesn't work if the target finds out it's being used on them, is terrible. Shisui developed a reputation for doing this to people, by the way, which, first, in its defense, does mean that the cooldown might be lower than 10 years, even without Hashirama cells or whatever, but more importantly means most people would be aware of it going into an interaction with Shisui. Nobody at the 5 Kage Summit knew Danzo had one of his eyes, and he still got caught using it. Shisui, who again was famous for doing this to people, even activating his Mangekyo Sharingan might give the game away and stop this from working. Based on my understanding of how it works, this version of Kodo Amatsukami is so limited and easy to counter that I can't justify putting it any higher than the lowest spot on the list.
It's alright. Hold on. Ooh.
Shin can control weapons. That's it. That's his Mangekyo Sharingan ability. It's awful. Thoroughly terrible. It doesn't even have a name, by the way. I don't know what I'm supposed to call it. Now, I know Shin damaged Naruto and Sasuke with this jutsu, but this is an offensive jutsu, and it's his ultimate ability. If the best thing that I can say about it is that he hurt his targets with it. Like, we're talking about the bare minimum here. He didn't kill either of them with it, neither of them were left with any permanent injuries. They were totally fine after the fight. Like, Himawari did more damage to Naruto than Shin did. That said, in its defense, at least it did something on screen, which is more than I can say for the version of Kodo Amatsukami that Danzo used.
Right.
The first thing I want to say is that there's a massive difference in quality between this one and the last two. Moving forward, all of these jutsu are going to be really good. That felt like it was worth pointing out since I just got done talking about how terrible Shin's unnamed telekinesis power is, and I want it to be known that I think Amaterasu is actually really strong. The only reason it's this low is because this is a list of Mangekyo Sharingan jutsu, and all of them are busted except the bottom two. This is the only jutsu on the list with two different users who didn't acquire it by getting their Sharingan from somebody else. To explain why Itachi's is lower than Sasuke's, it's not weaker, they both function identically, and it has nothing to do with the fact that Sasuke eventually becomes stronger than Itachi. The real reason is because the jutsu tied to Sasuke's other Mangekyo Sharingan exists solely to make Amaterasu better. Other than that, they're exactly the same. The distance between them on this list is microscopic. Now that I've explained why these two are ordered this way, I'll use this slot to actually talk about Amaterasu. It's a strong jutsu, a really strong one. It basically single-handedly won Sasuke the fight against B, the flames permanently disfigured the Raikage, Itachi was able to one-shot one of Nagato's summons with it, and even Sage Kabuto was afraid of running into the flames. The thing is, when it's used against people at or above a certain level of strength, it doesn't seem particularly effective, or it at least seems reasonably easy to counter. Six-Path's characters aside, it seems like everyone is afraid of being hit by this jutsu head-on, because they know it'd kill them, but everyone also always has an answer for it. Sasuke uses the substitution jutsu and he's fine. Obito uses either Kamui or Izanagi and he's fine. The Raikage dodges it. Gaara blocks it and he's fine. Danzo uses Izanagi and he's fine. Nagato uses Shinra Tensei and he's fine. Sage Kabuto just doesn't let it hit him. The Ten Tails lobs off the piece of itself that's lit on fire, and it's fine. Even B, the one person who this jutsu actually beats, aside from the random samurai at the 5 Kage Summit, I guess, is able to use substitution to get out of it. So again, like I said, the jutsu is really strong, but it has way more weaknesses than everything I have above it.
Okay.
Kagetsuchi shores up one of Amaterasu's core weaknesses, which is that the person using it has to be really good at aiming it. They just have to shoot the flames and hope for the best because they can't be manipulated at all once the jutsu is cast, at least not without this jutsu. Now there's definitely a non-zero chance that a decent number of you think that it doesn't make sense to put Kagetsuchi above Amaterasu because Kagetsuchi requires Amaterasu to function. It doesn't do anything without it. The thing is, having access to Kagetsuchi but not to Amaterasu is never going to be a problem for Sasuke, so I think this is a moot point. Even though his Rinnegan was destroyed in Boruto and that was the eye he used to cast Amaterasu, for some reason he can also use Amaterasu with his Kagetsuchi eye, which I don't agree with, by the way. I don't think it should work that way, but it does, so whatever, let's move on. Sasuke basically creates his own Kekkei Genkai element with Kagetsuchi, and using it, Inferno style or Blaze release, he's able to do some pretty cool stuff. In his fight against the Raikage specifically, it makes a huge difference, because as I mentioned earlier, he wasn't able to hit him with plain old Amaterasu, but turning it into a shield using Kagetsuchi made it impossible for the Raikage to hit him without damaging himself. When he gets the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Kagetsuchi allows him to basically completely replace Fire style with Inferno style. It's strictly better in every way, at least off the top of my head. Not only are the flames of Amaterasu stronger than the flames of regular fire-style jutsu, but it's also easier and more convenient to use, since Sasuke can just conjure the flames with one eye and start controlling them with the other. He doesn't have to weave hand seals and exhale the flames from his mouth. This allows him to do stuff that he probably wouldn't even be able to do weaker versions of with fire-style, like shoot an Amaterasu Susanoo arrow, or combine the flames of Amaterasu with Naruto's Rasen Shuriken to make like a super-duper ultra
that shit was
nuclear
fire
jutsu
right there,
that
too.
probably would have killed anyone in the whole series that had appeared up to this point, even Obito, if he wasn't completely nullifying all of the jutsu that were being thrown at him. The biggest problem with it, especially compared to other stronger Mangekyo jutsu, is the fact that the black flames physically exist. They are ninjutsu-based projectiles that can be physically interacted with, which means they can be dodged, blocked, absorbed, so on and so forth. And with all the stupid bullshit that crops up by the end of the series, Amaterasu and Kagetsuchi have so much to contend with that they just kind of fade into the background. Compared against the totality of Naruto's jutsu catalog, especially the Mangekyo Sharingan portion of that catalog, Amaterasu and Kagetsuchi just feel too fair.
Okay. I hear you. Tsukuyomi.
Even though it's the first Mangekyo jutsu that appeared in the series, Tsukuyomi holds up pretty well compared to all the others. I don't think it got power crept. This is the part of the video where we get into jutsu that are just kind of horseshit and don't have any hard counters at all. This applies to Tsukuyomi, I think, first of all because it's a genjutsu, so it can't be blocked. I alluded to this when talking about Kagetsuchi, but the fact that it isn't a physical projectile is a massive advantage, in my opinion. Since it's not like an attack, no amount of raw defense can protect someone from it. Gaara's Sand, the Susanoo, even the goddamn perfect Susanoo and the Edo Tensei regeneration are all completely irrelevant against it. For anyone that doesn't have total outright genjutsu immunity, powerful. Eye contact with Itachi is death. Normally, the target of any genjutsu can rely on their allies to snap them out of it by disrupting their chakra flow, but that doesn't work with Tsukuyomi because this jutsu allows Itachi to alter his target's perception of time. 72 hours, just like that. A lifetime in a picosecond, according to the Itachi light novels. The mental trauma from Tsukuyomi was enough to put Kakashi in a coma that only Tsunade could save him from. It was enough to kill his girlfriend, and setting aside the offensive potency of the jutsu, he was also able to use it to force Kabuto to release Edo Tensei, so it can like kill people, and it's also a utility jutsu that can be used for mind control.
Damn. That's number 4.
This one just doesn't have any counters at all, as far as I can tell anyway. At least with Tsukuyomi, Itachi's opponents are safe as long as they avoid eye contact, but that's not the case here. Kakashi's Kamui is just a long-range kill button, whether his target is looking at him or not. While still unskilled with it, he was able to take off Deidara's arm, he seems to think he could have killed Kakazu with it, he was able to snipe away half of the Genomazo as it was being summoned, and even against Pain when he teleported away the rocket, I believe he could have used Kamui to kill the Asuropath, but chose to save Choji instead to make sure the information about Pain made its way to Tsunade. While there are admittedly no examples of Kakashi killing anyone with Kamui, the same goes for all the jutsu below it except for Tsukuyomi, which only has one confirmed kill, someone who is likely way weaker than anyone Kakashi fought with Kamui at his disposal, and someone who had it used against them when they were likely off guard. Besides, this jutsu has value beyond its offensive power. It can just delete other jutsu completely, even 6 paths level stuff like the truth-seeking orbs. In my opinion, the most impressive thing Kakashi ever teleported away with it was one of Kaguya's portals. He opened a portal to the Kamui dimension to teleport away another space-time portal. It's weird. It just seems like things that should be naturally resistant to this jutsu, like 6 Paths characters who are supposed to have total ninjutsu immunity, or other space-time ninjutsu get completely run over by it. Another thing worth considering is that Kakashi spends most of Shippuden using his Mangekyo with restraint, since pulling out Kamui meant a trip to the emergency room up until the war arc. Imagine if this was one of Sasuke's jutsu, or Edo Itachi's. Imagine how much more havoc Obito would have caused if he had never lost this eye and would have been able to use long and short-range Kamui together at the same time.
I need a what-if story. With that.
When I said to bear with me earlier, this is what I was talking about. I'm not crazy, I know how strong this jutsu is. It single-handedly changed the course of the 4th Great Ninja War, after all. If I'm right about what I said earlier, this version of Kodo Amatsukami is way stronger than the one Danzo got. There's no way to break it, man. It took priority over Kabuto's Edo Tensei control, and even though Itachi knew exactly what was happening to him, it didn't matter. There was nothing he or Kabuto could do to release it. What I find particularly impressive about it is how flexible the hypnosis is. With an order as simple as protect the hidden leaf village, the Eye could have compelled Itachi to physically travel back to the Leaf and mindlessly patrol the outskirts for invaders. Instead, it ordered him to do something that was way more urgent but less immediately apparent: defeat Kabuto and force him to release the Edo Tensei. The only problem with it is that unbelievable, frankly unacceptable 10-year cooldown period. If not for that, then this would be number 1 for free.
That 10-year shit is weird. Short range, let's see.
I doubt anybody's surprised by this. I could probably just end the video here. We all know why Kamui is number 1. With it, Obito can teleport anywhere, become invincible, carry an infinite amount of items, and move anyone he touches into an inescapable alternate dimension. It's both the strongest defensive jutsu and the strongest offensive jutsu in the series at the same time. It's a contender for best utility jutsu in the series too. There's a very, very good reason why as soon as Obito became the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails, he conveniently lost the ability to use Kamui. How in the world could they have even fought him, much less beaten him, if that hadn't happened? And that's all of them. That's the last of the manga canon unique Mangekyo Sharingan jutsu. This list will probably be outdated at some point in the future, since I think it's very likely that Sarada is going to get the Mangekyo eventually. There's nothing I can do about that right now, though, so, you know, don't be mad at me if you're watching this after that happens. I considered talking about Madara's Storm Generations exclusive OVA abilities, the ones that let him rewind time. I'm pretty sure that's what they do anyway, but I thought it'd be weird to make an exception for him and not for Indra, so I decided against it. It also didn't flow super well with the video because I had to spend the whole I had a section recorded for it, by the way. I had to spend the whole beginning of it explaining why I didn't think it was canon, but why we could entertain the possibility that maybe it might be. Anyway, for anyone who's curious, I had him at number 3, right behind Kodo Amatsukami and right in front of Long Range Kamui. I had to make a lot of assumptions for it, though. Like I said, it was a really long section that kind of broke the flow of the rest of the video, so I decided against it. With Indra, he basically just has a Matarasu. It's not named the same thing, but it's just a Matarasu. He even has Sasuke's Mangekyo pattern in the anime filler. But anyway, I'm rambling. Thanks as always for everybody who watched all the way to the end. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Let me know how you would have ordered these in the comments. I don't think this list is definitive at all. I think there's definitely room for adjustment. That is absolutely everything, though.
No, I think the list is pretty accurate. I wouldn't really change much. Like, yeah, you can nitpick it and shit, but no, I think Swagkage kind of got it right there. You know what I'm saying? I was wondering what Madara was. Like, where the fuck Madara? But anyway, but yeah, that's pretty accurate, man. Shout out to Swagkage, man. I learned more about the Mangekyo Sharingan. You know what I'm saying? I never really looked deep into it when people talked about it. Basically, during the Cheyenne Rare, never really hardly listened. But anyway, man, you like my reaction. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.